Break out our tablets.
Ready to go.
Be home plenty of time.
All right, no, don't worry about it. I'd like to bring the September 10th, 2024 Planning Board meeting to order. Karen, if you could do a roll call, please.
Claudia Bogan.
Here.
Jim Callahan.
Here.
Kevin Donovan, absent. Dave Edmonds.
Here.
Carolyn Turner, absent. Rob Klein.
Here.
Chair Bob Darty.
Here. Just make mention, before the meeting begins, please silence your cell phones and note that this meeting is being recorded. I'd also like to bring to light that we have a new member of the planning board, Mr. Rob Klein. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you, everyone.
First thing, under well, we have no A&Rs, correct?
Right.
Okay. Under public hearings, to amend the 1985 Woburn zoning ordinance as amended for a proposed zoning amendment to section 5.2.1.4 by adding the following sentence to the end of the said section, notwithstanding the foregoing, the reconfiguration of the New Boston Street Bridge and the associated permanent easements by the City of Woburn created access to abutting lots by so-called common driveways, or access easements in said lots, and their access therefore are to be deemed conforming for purposes of legal frontage and legal accents. Okay, any questions? No questions.
Anybody presenting?
It does, oh, okay. I wasn't quite sure why you were here, but that's okay.
Now you know. John Paul Martinetti here on behalf of 317 NB Development LLC. Attorney Tarby was not able to attend this evening. The petition before you is basically a effort at cleanup on the New Boston Street Bridge project. 317 New Boston Street and the adjacent properties had some permanent easements and some temporary easements that took place over the frontage of the properties. Effectively, what happened with our particular parcel is the frontage of what will be the new bridge is across what was formerly our front lawn. And in order to make the bridge sightlines and elevations work effectively, what is currently a flat in front of our property will come onto our property and come up about 16, 18 feet in the air. So effectively, we're unable to have a conforming driveway at the completion of the bridge project. So we picked up on this early in the design phase, had a number of meetings with City Engineer Jay Corey, as well as VHB in what I felt was a creative and impressive design and how they tackled getting us a driveway, because the initial rendering just didn't have a driveway for the property, which is what started the conversation. But effectively, the city took a permanent easement over the adjacent property to us and created two driveway accesses, one for that property and one for our property. So it is what would be considered under current zoning a common driveway or access over somebody else's property. So we noted that, and basically we have an inability to cure that post-bridge construction. So we looked at the city and the previous administration and said, how do we formulate this so that we, as a result of the bridge project, are not a permanently non-conforming project for something as simple as moving a tenant in or out and having to deal with the special permit process, when today, or previous to the bridge construction, that's something that could just happen as a matter of right. So It seemed like a relatively simple cleanup and language that wouldn't impact other parts of the city and effectively bring us back to where we were.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions of the applicant or the director?
Well, actually, mine would be the director, but Jim, go first.
Just a point of clarification, 317, is that on the right-hand side as you go north to the new bridge?
It's on the northerly side of the bridge.
Northerly side of the bridge, so you're crossing over, and it goes southwest to northeast, if I recall correctly. So you're on the downhill side of that?
Of the new bridge?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll be kind of, as you're exiting the bridge, looking off to the right. It's a two-story masonry building with some tech R&D tenants in there right now. We bought the building from the Party Center from the Gillespie family back in 2012. It was the party rental facility. And did a full rehab on the building, and now it's occupied by a few manufacturing tech tenants.
So, just a little bit, the technical language about the driveway doesn't concern me too much, other than I want to make sure that I understand the lot and the locus of this plan that's being proposed. Does that affect the driveway or driveways that enter the approved developments on the south side of the bridge and the possible easement to the Anderson Station? Or are you on the other side of the bridge? So I understand you.
We're on the northerly side of the bridge, so if you came in on Presidential and took a left, the Sheehy properties are the first to the left. We're the next property down. So we're landlocked between a small Howland property site and Sheehy property. So we're in between. It's about a 3-acre site with a 60,000 square foot building on it.
Thank you.
That's it? Claudia?
So through the chair to John, I understand why. I get it, that there was a benefit to the city to have this essentially non-conformance created, burdening your property. And sort of the idea was at the back end of the process to fix that so that you were not disadvantaged, right? That's what I'm getting from the presentation. And I understand that. I just am looking in the zoning to see how we get around generally spot zoning, because the point of this amendment is to benefit one parcel, right, John, in the city, that it's written in such a way that it cannot benefit other parcels. And I understand why that is, but generally speaking, spot zoning is kind of a problem. So I'll just throw that out there. How do you respond to that?
The best I can respond is that it is a unique situation, calling for a unique solution. And this is really the best that we can come up with at the moment, taking in consideration the bridge is far from being completed, so that in order to gain access to this property, this particular concession zoning ordinance is absolutely required. So the bridge, I think, has just been taking so long to build, and
It's, yeah, it's still in process. It sounds like it's 2026 is hopefully an end date. I might add that I think it does apply to the 2 adjacent properties as well. As you know, technically they have a shared access also.
Okay. That gets you a little bit of the way, but I mean, there is a thing called spot zoning where if we change something to benefit just a very particular thing, that, you know, that could be challengeable. I'm looking in my zoning, John, to find the exact provision that we're amending. This is 5.2.4.
.1.
Okay, so I've got 5.2 additional use regulations, 5.2. Hold on. And then it's 5.2.1. .4? Because,
5.2.1.4.
okay, because it doesn't say that. It says 5.2.4.1, and that's why I'm asking, because I'm trying to find it here, see? Okay, so we're just gonna go to the public hearing announcement. That's helpful. 5.2.1.4, which is access to the buildable portion of a lot shall be gained from a lot's legal street frontage only. Okay, and so the idea is to add a sentence to that very general provision, right?
Well, it is an entire paragraph that can be read, and then it's the bold sentence at the end of that paragraph that would be added, and that's the added amendment language that's proposed as a solution to this access
Okay,
problem.
okay, I'm there now. I just had to sort of see where
Yeah.
this was being put in, so that I can understand the costs and benefits of that. Okay. Notwithstanding the foregoing, the reconfiguration of the new Boston Street Bridge and the associated informing for the purpose, okay. So, I don't have a problem with this. I don't. The issue I have is whenever we do something that benefits one particular party in the city, we have to be mindful that there are other parties in the city who are watching what we're doing and will, at some point, wish to come back and point to what we're doing today and say, hey, you did it for that guy, do it for me. And so I'm just concerned about that, and I want to just make that concern visible to my fellow board members as to how we would distinguish anybody who might want to come in later and say, hey, you did it for that guy, do it for me. Okay, so that's, I'll just be upfront. That's my issue. Right? And so the question on the table is, if the planning board decides to do it, can we structure our vote in such a way that it's clear that we're relying on very unique circumstances, and that if these unique circumstances are not forthcoming, shall we say, in any sort of future petition, that we have a basis for not doing this again. So, I'm all set.
Okay, Dave?
So then the unique circumstances would be a taking by the city?
That could be.
That could be.
Yeah. But it really just serves the purpose, this particular amendment serves the purpose of providing essential access for this particular set of properties. And it's, the problem is the bridge isn't going to be built in time. This is the only thing that they could come up with as a solution to gain adequate access. And it is unique. I mean, how many years have you been here, and have you come up with a problem like this? It's a sizable development that really needs relief because of unforeseeable circumstances involved with the delay of the construction of the bridge, so.
I have no disagreement with that, John, but you also understand my point.
Oh, yeah.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah,
you know,
we've never experienced it. When I first came about, and this was already well underway before I came back this year, I was like scratching my head. Had never actually seen anything like this, but, once I understood what the circumstances were and that this is a viable solution for the, present situation that we face.
there was some verbiage in here that this had been vetted by the city solicitor.
Yes, yeah. And the building commissioner, who is the zoning enforcement officer, worked closely with the city solicitor in wordsmithing this solution.
Okay. Well, I see the recommendation here. I don't disagree with it. I would suggest that when we send a recommendation to the city council, if it's favorable, that we urge them in their vote to distinguish as closely and clearly as possible the unique circumstances of this case as the reason for this vote, because I just, again, have seen in my time here, the consequences of things we do for people come back in a way that may be surprising. And so I just want to point that out. Thanks, I'm all set.
David, you all set? Okay. Any other questions of the applicant? Okay, seeing none, this is a public hearing. If anybody would like to come up and speak in favor or against, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Motion by Claudia to close the public hearing, seconded by Dave. All those in favor? 4, 5, 5-0. Passes. On the subject, does the director have a recommendation?
Yes, I do, Mr. Chairman. The recommendation is rather simple, to send a favorable recommendation to the city council on this proposed zoning amendment. If anybody would like to add to that, any language, I'm more than susceptible.
Through the chair,
Yes.
in terms of language that I would be comfortable with, I would add to the favorable recommendation, the planning board suggests, since of course it is the city council's ultimate decision, the planning board suggests that should the city council act favorably upon this matter, that their vote reflect in detail the unique circumstances that support this zoning change.
And I would just like to say, it is unique, and I used that word earlier, but I don't think we're gonna come across a use of this amendment from here on out. This is that unique.
Well, John, I think that that's not really my concern. My concern is that the next guy that comes in and says, hey, I have a unique circumstance and I'd like to get my zoning amendment just for my parcel, and you did it over here. And we say no, and the city council says no, and, someone gets sued. That's my concern.
It could happen. It could.
You don't have to tell me. So,
Never say never.
if, I don't want to, cut anyone off. If anyone has any questions, I would be prepared to make the recommendation of the planning board director with the amendment as discussed in the form of a motion.
Second.
Okay. And we're adding, what I wrote down was urge the city council to express the unique circumstances of this zoning change. And that would be at the part of the recommendation favorable.
And John could fix that up, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. No, and perfect language to add to the recommendation, because it is unique. That's why we're doing it, and it's a necessary situation that calls for this type of action, unfortunately.
And you might want to throw in something like, in the public interest,
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion made by Claudia, second by Jim. All those in favor? 5-0 passes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, under public hearings, to amend the 1985 Woburn zoning ordinance as amended for a proposed zoning amendment for proposed zoning as follows. 1, amend the definition of mixed-use hotel/restaurant in section 2 by inserting after 1 on the second line with or more contiguous. In addition, amend a lot on the second line to lots, and amend section 6, dimensional regulations, footnote 6.1.6, table of dimension regulations, by adding the following footnote 6, 3 eyes. Woburn Landing the parcel of land located at 369 Washington Street containing a mixed-use / restaurant use. In our packet, there is, on that particular item, there is a note at the bottom about last night's city council meeting. And based on the note that's on there, unless the board wants to discuss this at the moment, I think we have a recommendation to just continue the public hearing to our September 24th meeting.
Do you want to open it,
Oh,
the hearing, the public hearing today?
it is open.
Not until you say that it's open. It isn't
Oh,
open.
well, okay.
I mean,
Okay.
just trying to make sure, you know.
Okay, the public hearing is open. Anybody like to speak for or against this proposal? Seeing none,
Awesome.
I'll entertain a recommendation.
And I'd just like to explain, because the proponent is unable to attend tonight's public hearing, they've asked to request the board to consider continuing this hearing, date specific till our September 24th meeting. And
Bless you.
Bless you.
all of the city officials involved with this particular petition have also asked for that continuance.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Claudia, second by Dave. Accept the director's recommendation to continue the public hearing to our next meeting, September 24th. All those in favor? All those opposed? 5-0 passes. Up next is, really, we just have some subdivision status updates. First one is Sherman Terrace.
The update for Sherman Terrace, where we left it off in June, the applicant is presently working with the abutting property owner relative to working towards acquiring the necessary easements so that this particular subdivision can be completed relative to the proper acquisition, establishment, and recording of the easements that are necessary relative to the physical improvements that have been made and for the project to be approved finally, completely as is. So that's what's being worked on at this point in time. We did continue the review process date specific till our first meeting or second meeting in October. When was that, Karen?
I think it was the second meeting in October.
Yeah. Hopefully by that date, it's coming up pretty quickly, but hopefully by that date, these easements will be established. So that's the update on that particular one.
Highview Estate.
Highview Estates. Karen, what's the situation with them? I don't have my staff report with me.
Oh, okay.
Sure, their completion date is currently, we have it at April 1st, 2025. Last time they were here was in March. They reached a settlement with Eversource. They're gonna notify us if they have a detailed timeline for the construction completion or if the blasting was gonna start. But Mr. Santulo called in July, and he wants to discuss the future of Highview with Director Cashel. So I don't know if they've been in touch yet, but I know he wants to sit down and discuss it. So I'm not sure exactly where that stands.
They haven't contacted me at this point in time. I think some of the older members, longer-term members of the board realize that this is getting to be an ancient subdivision relative to its progress. It's just a very difficult piece of land to complete, and it's still incomplete. But hopefully I'll have an update, a more thorough update, when I do meet with them and find out what the story is.
There were 3 others here, but no real update on them. And I think this is just information that the expiration dates will be coming up on these.
Right, yes.
Crossman Road, Flag Street, and Ferrulo Drive. Any questions on that particular subject area? Seeing none. We'll go right to other business matters that may legally come before the board, not at the time of posting. We have a Cliffside Terrace, accept Property Owners Association declaration and bylaws, accept covenant as surety, and accept drainage and landscape easement agreements.
I can give you a report on this, if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay. Just this week, we did receive a favorable recommendation from the city solicitor relative to the covenant being prepared, the easement agreement, and the HOA, all in order in accordance with his review. The applicant is now in the process of having all 3 documents executed by the respective parties, and upon receiving those 3 documents and having them recorded at the Registry of Deeds, and they would be recorded at the same time the Mylars are recorded for this subdivision, and those Mylars are here for the board to consider signing this evening. So everything is in order. Everything's been reviewed successfully by the city solicitor, and we just need the signatures of the respective parties, the owners of the property. So that's where this one stands at this point in time. So the plans are here, if the board chooses to endorse them, and they'll be recorded, again, along with the previously mentioned 3 documents.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
through the chair to John, I don't have a problem with executing them tonight and holding them. That's not
Right.
the issue. I wasn't here for the vote, and Rob wasn't a member at the time, and you need 4.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that in the interest of discretion, I would sign with the 3 other planning board members that were members at the time of the vote, so that it's clear. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Alrighty.
Good point.
Do you need a vote, or you just need us to do it?
Just need signatures, because
Got
it's
it.
already approved.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Excuse me, don't we need a vote to accept the document?
Yes. So we do need to accept the homeowners association declaration.
But we don't have them.
What's that?
I said, but we don't have them.
We have them they're in the revised attachment C, the documents, and then I also included the email from Attorney Salvati saying that he reviewed them and is,
Okay, so
no problem with
okay,
that.
so we have them, but they're just not executed.
Right, and
Oh, okay.
I spoke with Attorney Tarby today, and he's in the process of getting them executed, and he said that's why if we could endorse the Mylar, and hold the Mylar until he delivers the executed documents, and then he would record them all at the same time.
Okay, so in essence then, it sounds like what we need is a vote to accept the easement documents as submitted to us,
And favorably reviewed by the city
and
solicitor.
favorably reviewed by the city solicitor, and if they are signed in the same form as what we have voted to accept, then the Mylars will be released. How about that as a motion?
Yeah, the Mylars will be released for recording purposes.
Second.
So it would be, excuse me, it would be the easement document, the HOA bylaws, and the covenant.
Yes, and that the condition is that they be signed
Yes.
in the same form as we're voting on them tonight. Not that I'm cynical or suspicious or anything like
No, I
that.
agree.
No.
Okay, we have a motion from Claudia, seconded by Jim. All those in favor? All those opposed? 5-0, carries. Director's update.
Yeah, can I borrow your director's report, because I didn't bring mine down.
I have what's on here.
Cynical or
electronic.
suspicious.
It's all electronic?
Yeah.
have to find somebody with some electronics.
It was the, MBTA Communities,
It was,
letter, the recommendation letter that we sent, and then the backup to it. That was pretty much what,
Yeah, so everybody get a chance to read the recommendation of the planning board resulting from our last meeting in August. That was actually received, thank you, that was actually received by the city council. It was part of the city council's meeting last night. An update of that particular meeting, that's the ordinance committee meeting of the city council. They voted to postpone any final action on the particular set of amendments for the MBTA/3A, non-age restricted family housing amendments until further notice, basically. And the city officially has, by state dictate, till the 31st of December of this year to take final action. So there is plenty of time, and last night's discussion took into consideration, there's a couple of court decisions that are pending and may have decisions before the deadline, and that may end up affecting the city council's action on the zoning amendments. It was a lively debate and discussion, if you have the chance to watch it.
But we did what we had to do.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done.
We're done.
Okay,
We did our statutory duty and responsibility.
excellent.
Oh, thank you. All right. Well, I got this other thing. Everybody get a chance to read Casey Haggerty's economic development newsletter update. Yeah. And then, anybody have any questions on that, I can hopefully answer them for you. In addition to the newsletter, if you haven't had a chance, I asked board members to visit Magazine Hill. Not that it's an easy site to access, but if you do or haven't gone up there yet, you just drive up Man's Court, and you can see the work that the Woburn DPW department did in cleaning up that site and preparing it for a formal parking area in the future. But right now, it has a surface that can be driven on and actually parked on, but it's not a formal municipal parking lot yet at this time. Also, I cited a bunch of improvements that are associated with the parking lot up there. They have the underground drainage. It's a massive French drain, if you will, that would handle the surface runoff. And it's all geared towards a slope going towards the cliff that's associated with the Magazine Hill. And electrical improvements on the site include the installation of 3 electrical stanchions that will have in the future exterior lighting associated. The city's waiting for the lights to be delivered. But once they're delivered, all the wiring is in place, and those lights will be installed. So it'll be a more functional, safer parking environment for nighttime activities up there that are associated with downtown businesses. Then I did mention that the surface of the parking area is prepared right now for future paving. Let's see, there's a gate already installed up there. Boulders are in place to make sure that people are not going to drive off steep locations within the parking area. The one thing the city is working on to help make the parking lot, the future parking lot, more viable, we have to move a telephone pole that's located at the end of Man's Court right now. And it's been discussed for various meetings, and I guess to move a telephone pole, as many people realize, it's almost a monumental task. You need an act of Congress to get a telephone pole moved. So that's what's being worked on in that regard. Other improvements in the downtown area, I hope people have noticed, the Adirondack chairs in the front lawn of the library. We've got a lot of favorable feedback from those, along with the large chess and checker sets. The chess set was in the Pocket Park, installed in the Pocket Park. The checkers was in the Citizens Park all summer. All of the islands within the downtown area have been maintained and improved this particular summer. It took a while to get things done, but all the islands are weeded, mulched. The sidewalks throughout downtown were power washed, and that was donated by the efforts of Atlantic Power Cleaning. They steam cleaned all of the sidewalks in the facade of City Hall, the stone portions of City Hall. So if you haven't noticed that, City Hall, the brick and the foundation area have been really well cleaned just recently, and that hasn't been done in a long time. Let's see what else we have here. We're also, as an effort, working with the administration, really pay attention to the downtown area relative to all the public parts of it, and making sure that the city is taking care of these areas and keeping them well-maintained and clean, policed on a regular basis. The new mayor really recognizes that the downtown area is a reflection of the city at large, and well-maintained, well-managed downtown area reflects well on the community. So that's basically my report, and if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them.
I don't see any.
One of the things that's been a big hit, I don't know if people have had a chance to go downtown on Wednesday nights in particular, but Citizens Park has been the center of a lot of activity on Wednesday nights throughout the summer, and I believe there are a couple of concerts that are still planned for the early fall months. But yeah, Wednesday nights have been pretty active down there, and it's really, it's been nice to actually enjoy that environment myself, but for, say, 200 or 300 people that regularly go to that concert event on Wednesday night, it's a highlight of the week for them, so. That's it.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right, we have minutes from August 13th that need to be approved.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Dave to accept the minutes, draft minutes, accept the minutes from August 13th, 2024. Second by Claudia. All those in favor? All those opposed? 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0. Rob has to abstain. So,
He did like them, though.
he did like them.
Yes,
That's
he did.
nice.
He did. That's a good thing.
So 4-0-1 abstain. Yeah.
And I think that's it.
Our next meeting is on the 24th.
Yes.
All right, with that, I would make a motion to adjourn at 7:39.
Motion by Claudia to adjourn at 7:39, seconded by,
Second.
second by Rob. All those in favor? 5-0 carries. Thank you very much.